India has crossed the peak of its Covid-19 epidemic, but the end is nowhere in sight, and these are still uncertain waters. In such a scenario, any news of a vaccine against the disease is bound to be a reason for excitement. And in the last few weeks, we have had quite a few reasons to be excited. 3 companies announced preliminary results from the phase 3 clinical trials for their vaccine candidates: AstraZeneca, Pfizer and Moderna. So, how do they compare to each other? The principal difference among the 3 vaccine candidates is their technology. The AstraZeneca vaccine candidate uses a viral vector, that is, viruses altered to carry some genes of the novel coronavirus. Once the viral vector transports the genes to a the cell uses the genes to produce a part of the virus. This then provokes an immune response. Pfizer and Moderna both have mRNA vaccine candidates. The vaccine transports the virus's genes into the cells that then produce the virus, which in turn provokes an immune response. All 3 vaccine candidates are in the late stages of their respective phase 3 clinical trials. These trials assess 2 important things: efficacy and safety. Efficacy stands for a vaccine candidate's performance in carefully controlled conditions. The efficacy numbers that the 3 companies have announced are measures of the difference between people who became sick after the vaccination and those who fell sick without it. If there's no difference between these 2 groups, the efficacy stands at 0. Pfizer's vaccine candidate has a reported efficacy of 90%. Moderna's of 94.5%, the AstraZeneca vaccine candidate has a reported efficacy of 90%. As for safety, while mild adverse reactions like fever, local site irritation and pain are considered okay, neurological complications are taken as deal breakers. Moderna and Pfizer have repeatedly reported that their vaccine candidates were well tolerated across age groups and that few participants developed adverse reactions. The most severe reactions were mild conditions like fatigue, muscle pain, joint pain and headache. The AstraZeneca vaccine candidate's phase 3 trials had to be paused briefly after researchers reported neurological problems in one participant. However, experts have been divided on whether the vaccine caused them. Efficacy is different from effectiveness, which is the real-world performance of a vaccine. It's a measure of how well the vaccine will do when it's administered in the general population. Effectiveness takes into account the duration of immunity, resistance to evolving virus strains, variation across age and ethnic groups, and other conditions. Even after a vaccine is administered, it will be several years before we have useful data of its effectiveness. In India, the question of effectiveness is also related to the problem of storing and distributing the vaccine doses. Most vaccines need to be refrigerated. India is a predominantly warm country with uneven and discontinuous access to electricity. Moderna's vaccine candidate can be stored at -20 degrees Celsius for up to 6 months and 2 to 8 degrees Celsius for about 1 month, provided it is kept stable. It can also be kept at room temperature, around 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, for up to 12 hours after thawing. Pfizer's vaccine candidate needs to be stored and transported at -70 degrees Celsius with a 6-month shelf life at that temperature. At 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, however, it can be stored for only 5 days or so. India has a well-developed cold chain thanks to its experience with storing polio vaccines at -20 degrees Celsius, but it may not be enough for COVID-19 vaccines. Pfizer is reportedly building storage and transportation boxes for its vaccine. It seems AstraZeneca's vaccine may be the most viable option on this front. Its candidate can reportedly be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius for 6 months. Moderna announced that its vaccine would be priced at $10 to $50 a dose. Pfizer will reportedly charge $20 per dose. The AstraZeneca vaccine is expected to be priced at $3 to $4 per dose, which is more affordable but still not cheap. In India, the AstraZeneca vaccine is being jointly developed by the Serum Institute of India at Pune and goes by the name Covishield. The company's CEO Adar Poonawalla has said that it has already manufactured 40 million doses and that 100 million doses will be ready by January 2021, each costing about 1,000 rupees on the private market. November 24th, Poonawalla added that the government will buy 90% of the supply at 250 rupees per dose. However, Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not outline a clear strategy to buy, price and distribute vaccines at a review meeting he recently had with state chief ministers. The Government of India is also encouraging vaccines developed within the country which could be cheaper. The front runner among these candidates is Covaxin, a vaccine being developed by Bharat Biotech, which is based in Hyderabad with help from the Indian Council of Medical Research and the National Institute of Virology. Bharat Biotech is yet to publish the results from Covaxin's phase 1 and 2 clinical trials. The phase 3 clinical trials began in October, and Bharat Biotech has said that full results are expected only in March or April 2021. Based on the preliminary data, the company has reported a vaccine efficacy of 60%. Any celebrations over a possible vaccine must be tempered with caution. The rush for vaccination may lead to use of vaccines that have limited value and limited information about their safety. Many scientists point out that the phase 3 COVID-19 vaccine trials do not give us all the information we need to know, nor are they designed to do so. For instance, the trials either don't measure or are not set up to measure whether the vaccine candidate will prevent severe disease, nor are the trials set up to measure reduced illness at those with greater risk. Above all, they don't collect the information needed to know if the vaccine could reduce transmission and bring the pandemic under control. Some side effects will only be identified after millions of people have received the vaccine. This will require robust follow-ups which may take several years. As Sandhya Srinivasan wrote in her article for The Wire Science, we must ensure transparency on all aspects of the vaccine, the objectives of the vaccine program, how the approved vaccines measure up to those objectives, and how to ensure long-term follow-up for serious side effects. Not just a vaccine, honest and responsible scientific communication between scientists, governments and citizens will be needed to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.